Fillies and Gentlecles, welcome to another edition of Pony Fanfiction Theater. I'm your host Nate. I'll be your narrator as usual. With me, as usual, as always, is Silent Killer X. And this story is called Big Daddy Mac Doesn't Dash. It is a kind of a sequel to the first story that I just previously read. Yes. And there's another disclaimer to this story. If you don't know what's going on in the story, go ask your parents. Look both ways before crossing the street. Don't make a face like that, it'll stick if the wig changes. Read along if you like in the description. Let's begin. Everything was perfect. Things were always smooth down in the Prancing Pony Club, but tonight, everything was extra fine. Big Daddy Mac had reserved a royal booth. He chased away the more bothersome clients downstairs. If they were lucky, nobody talked about the club, and even less talk about the apple cellar or upstairs. The lights had been turned down lower than before. The band was playing so laid back they were almost horizontal. Big Mac looked around his club. He didn't really run it as much as participate in it. It had really taken on a life of its own, with its thick, luxurious velvet curtains, plum cushions instead of seats, oak wooden floors, walls, and ceilings. It just oozed sophistication, and so did Big Daddy Mac. Tonight a very special guest was coming. Mac loved all of his customers, but this particular filly he had his eye on for a long time. Once you were a member of the club, you can more or less come as you please. If you expected certain favors, you had better be able to pay up or barter in kind of and book in advance. When you weren't, however, you had to be let in. If your pledge messed up, you were both out. This kept the riffraff to a minimum, but also meant the relative few ponies even knew this place existed outside of rumor and scuttlebutt. Door opened, and a hooded figure slinked in. What is it with these ponies in those hoods? Asked Mac, rhetorically. Aren't they all going to the same place to get them? Time passes, as it does. Winter has wrapped up, and spring came again. The weather grew wonderful and warm. Dash, however, was not quite feeling so good. Almost a second after opening her eyes, as she had for most mornings lately, she found herself rushing to make an offering to the porcelain god. Food poisoning my feathers! I'm not sick. This isn't any stomach bug I have never heard of. Dash absently rubbed her stomach. She was getting fat, and yet she was eating more than usual. Pegasus ponies needed a lot to eat to help keep their energy levels up for flying, and Dash was one of the more active ponies, or at least I usually am. Oh no. Dash dropped her muzzle down the pan again. There was nothing left to give, but her stomach tried anyway. That's it. I'm going to the doctor's. Well, to a doctor. Well, to Twilight. She'll know what to do. I hope. Dash stepped out of her cloud palace and waited. Dash looked down. She was halfway into the clouds surrounding her home. With an effort, she pulled herself, but still found herself sinking. It didn't get any better as she flapped her way very ungainingly down to Ponyville, barely making the balcony of the library that Twilight Sparkle had relatively recently made her home. Distraught now, she hammered the door. Twilight! Twilight Sparkle! Open up! Open! The door was yanked open, and Dash found herself clopping her friend right in the noggin. Twilight's eyes spun around twice before she shook her head to clear them. Rainbow Dash, what in Equestria is the problem at this time in the morning? I've been feeling really sick lately, and it's not getting any better. And now this morning I could barely make it across the clouds. I think it's something serious. You gotta help me. You gotta. You've been sick, and you almost fell through the clouds? How's your flying? Oh, it's just awful. I'm so sick I can barely fly. What could it be? And I'm getting so fat. I'm a fatty. And I hate it. You're fat? Asked Twilight, raising an eyebrow and peering at Dash's undercarriage. Wait a minute. Let me take a look at that. Twilight vanished into a room and returned a short while later with a headlamp on her brow and a stethoscope around her neck. She had a spatula in her mouth and a serious look in her eyes. Dash, open wide to say, ah. That's right. Stick out your tongue. Looks quite normal. Bad breath. Phew. Brush your teeth next time first. Let's listen to those lungs. Dash winced a little. Despite her hair, those things were cold. I just don't understand it. I'm getting so fat. Fat's a bad thing for us Pegasus. We can't fly if we're fat. Well, your heart sounds okay, good and strong. I'm not a doctor. You really should try. You're first. You're my friend. Well, okay. I'm not really sure what I'm listening for, but breathe in. Out. That's right. In. Twilight moved down her friend's flank. Finally, she gave up and put her ear to the pony, and her eyes went wide. She put a hoof very carefully and waited, and then she giggled. Oh goodness, Dash, there's something you've not been telling me. What is it? Am I going to die? Am I going to go bald and have all my feathers fall out? Am I going to swell up like a dollar balloon and be fat, Dash, aren't I? Tell me how sick I am. How long I got? About 6 to 9 months. Dash just stopped there. Her muzzle fell open. She stayed there for a good minute. Just her muzzle working. 6 months? To live? Not quite. Less? No, silly. 6 months or so until your life changes forever. Twilight leaned closer to whisper, making appropriate hoof gestures and pointing, making shapes, explaining. The color drained out of Dash's face. What do you mean Oh my gosh. What am I gonna tell? But I got to. Big Mac was packing. He knew this would come. He had his escape planned out. The club's location a secret. Bits stashed behind an old salt lick. A fake passport behind the bathroom mirror. He was almost home free. Almost. Big Mac! Yelled AJ, running full tilt to the barn. You get your big fat red Mrs. Begotten two-time no good yellow belly treacherous hideout here, lickety split. This very second, or so help me, I'll get you where you stand. She was mad. Big ears flattened against his head, and his eyes widened, showing the whites nowhere left to go. He was done for. AJ found him in the barn, cowering under an old blanket. Big Mac was big enough that it barely covered his head. She humphed, and blew a stray lock of hair out of her eyes, and grabbed his tail by the teeth, pulling him out to the door and glaring, accusing sunlight. You better get up this here second, big brother, and start yapping, or so help me, Granny, fetch the branding iron. Little sister, well, I knew someone was up. I knew it, tarnation, but I knew it. Ain't no pony needs none of his nor her pay like you do. And what was you doing with it, huh? Living up like, AJ, can't say I was. I needed that money fair and square, same as I earned it. What for? For tail pony. I ain't gonna leave no foal behind you here. And how many gosh darn misbegotten foals is my big dumb brother gonna be having now? Shouted AJ. She shouted so hard that her hat fell off. She picked it up and threw it down again, and all but stamped it flat. You see, you darn knocked up Dash. What the hell you gotta say for yourself? At least we know she ain't no filly fooler, huh? Applejack blinked. Dash, who had by now arrived with her friends despite her condition, almost in time to stop her friend settling to her bigger brother, balanced and blushed a deeper shade of red than Big Mac. Fluttershy was so traumatized she almost fainted. Oh boy, said Apple Blossom. You're in so much trouble now. Yep, said Dinky. She arrived moments ago with her pal Apple Blossom, but hadn't missed the fun. Almost no pony in Ponyville had missed it. AJ looked down at Dinky, and then up back at Mac. Oh my gosh, you did it! And that's the end to this story. Oh no.
Oh no. No. That's not how it worked. Oh.
Oh my god.
That is the wrong ending. How did that get there?
I don't know. Blame the author of this story.